Is there something here you want to show me? Is there anything here that you may have had that's been here since we've been doing this? I also have a device on the bed, a recorder, which if you speak, I'll be able to hear you. So let me ask you 5 questions.
Okay guys, so I am here at the 1912 historic Hoover House in Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. I have never been here. I know the owners though. They are investigators in the paranormal community. And they texted me a couple months ago asking me to come out. So of course I did. And I'm just waiting for Heather to come. And we're actually gonna have a little bit of a girls' weekend here. And we're gonna spend the night and find out what happened.
Okay, I just arrived at the Hoover House. Gonna go find Katrina and we're gonna do our first interview with the owners.
I don't really know much about this place. You texted me asking me to come, and then I know it used to be a care facility, and that's as far as I know.
My business partner and I knew that we wanted something spectacular, something that would not only fit the paranormal, but would fit people's hearts. So we came upon the historic 1912 Hoover House, and we were a long-term care facility, and I worked in long-term care for a while. And when we came, the energy and the vibration of the house just seemed to really click.
And how, was it always a care facility?
It was built as a private residence. It was owned by Ira Hoover, who actually passed away in the Holzer suite upstairs of cardiac thrombosis. 13 years later, his daughter Eleanor died in the same room from the same illness.
Wow.
His brother lived down the street. There's like a gray house down there, and they used to have a competition. Whose house would be bigger?
Wow, a literal pissing contest between brothers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So who ended up with the bigger house?
This one.
This one, okay. So did you guys move in full time in March?
Yeah.
Have you had any experiences so far?
We actually have. I have to show you this picture in the basement.
Okay.
So the basement was an illegal bar. And so we were sitting down there, and every time that we ask about whiskey, we seem to get EVPs or something will happen. And I was just taking pictures of us very nonchalantly, taking 3, getting rid of them, taking 3, getting rid of. I was sitting there for a while. And then I took a series of 3, and in the second picture, there is a dark shadow, doesn't have legs, and then you can see it forming from the floor up.
Have you guys felt confusion here?
From time to time.
Anything in the environment that would cause that you guys know of?
I would hope not.
Well, I'm assuming too, since you guys bought it, I mean, you had to go through inspection.
Oh, absolutely.
All that stuff, and did everything come back clean at that point?
Yeah. Another thing that happened, we had a tarot tea and Reiki event here, so I was just dusting and getting things organized. And as I was dusting, I kind of like looked, and there's an elevator with a window in it, and there was a woman's face. When I say a woman's face, her face was to the glass.
And it looked human.
It was solid as you and I.
Mm.
Wow. So first thing that I did was, we're investigators. I turned around and I looked to see if I had any pictures, because you see all my pictures through the house.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And her face is still there. I stepped aside to make sure it wasn't my reflection. And I took a couple steps and then it went away. So I was like, okay, somebody's in the elevator messing with me. So I walked over and I scooted my Reiki table over and I looked into the window.
So, shadow figure, full like apparition of a woman's face.
Yeah.
EVPs. Anybody else see any apparitions since you've been here?
We've had some people sitting at the bar, not drinking, just with tea and coffee. And there is a dark shadow that walks from that room to here. And I've seen it a couple times, but it seems to be like on a loop. It's not defined, but it's kind of just, and it comes quickly into this area.
I have a question about all the furniture and pictures. Is most of that original when you bought it, or is it stuff you brought in?
They're mine. I've collected people for a very long time.
How much do you think the haunting that you've experienced here so far is the building versus the antiques you've been bringing in?
I think it's probably a combination, but the energy here, definitely the woman in the elevator, definitely the EVPs that we're getting. It's conducive to the history of the house.
Is there any activity or entity here that feels unsafe or unwelcoming?
I've never felt unsafe, although when I get up from my bed to go to the bathroom, you're definitely being watched. We were sleeping one night and Steve wakes me up and you could hear snoring in our bedroom. Now, Steve and I are the only ones in the house. And as he puts his feet in the floor to go look, it stopped. It sounded like somebody was struggling to breathe, like it was kind of like that,
yeah.
and it was very loud. It woke him up, it woke me up, and Steve's been tapped.
You guys have been touched?
Steve has.
Only Steve?
Only Steve.
Huh.
Yeah, kind of like on the side.
If we were going to try to capture activity objectively, what would we do?
You'll see that there's some chairs in the basement. I would say definitely go down there, talk about what you would talk about in a bar.
Yeah.
Hanging out with your friends, talk about different kinds of whiskeys. When you're upstairs all the way at the top, make sure that you're paying attention to outside, the area outside of the Rosebud. Definitely, that's where we get a lot of EVPs.
Obviously, you've been in healthcare for, almost like your whole adult life, right?
Yeah, my career.
Yeah. So, do you feel like it changes the way you care about the activity or specifically this location?
I think that the residents that are here see that they're finally able to be heard. And I think they're waking up.
What do you think?
I think it's interesting that her past with the connections with working in a nursing home, it seems like a lot of the activity she's getting here could be former nursing home residents.
Yeah.
That black shadow though, that picture was pretty compelling. Like, there's no one in the room. It wasn't daylight.
Yeah.
I don't know, I guess we just have to go in the basement and see if we could try to debunk that or recreate it. But I don't know, I thought the picture was pretty compelling.
When I first talked to Pam, when she texted me 3 months ago when they were getting the house, right? I didn't know anything about this other than it was a care facility and that they've had some things happen, they think, but it was really in the early days. And when we were talking to her, there's nothing that she said that seems scary. It's just sort of oh, whatever, kind of like your typical haunted house.
Yeah.
But I gotta tell you, dude, I was feeling really weird in there.
You felt weird?
I couldn't focus at all. I felt really confused. And that has only happened to me in places where there's something more malevolent.
You felt confused during the whole interview?
Totally. I couldn't focus. I think I asked the same question 4 times because I couldn't remember anything.
Actually, I did notice that.
Did you notice
the
that?
one time, yeah.
Because that's not
you don't
like
usually
me.
do that, no.
No, that's not like me at all. I'm usually I got my little checklist and I know what I need to ask, and it was just very weird, and it's just reminding me of places that we've been where I know something isn't necessarily right, and it messes with me and I can't think straight.
Yeah.
And then she shows us that picture, which I gotta agree with you, dude. I don't know.
I've never seen it. It reminds me of those old seance photos where you see the spirit forming, but it's half. I thought that was pretty cool. The only thing that kind of concerned me was the fact that she collects a lot of antiques.
All right, initial gut check, just because I feel weird. I know that she was saying that she doesn't think anything's bad here. I don't know that that's the case.
I'm seeing a dark shadow. That's not exactly
right?
Good.
Yeah. This is a good spot to call Michelle. Michelle agreed to do a remote check-in.
Great.
So I think, maybe chatting with her will give us some idea. Maybe it is nothing. I have Michelle here, and you don't know where I am. I've never told you where we are. Are you picking up on anything? I'm taking you specifically to a few places in this building.
There's a light, almost airy feel to the space. I'm not quite sure. It's not the usual like heavy, bad, we're always in haunted asylums and hospitals and things like this. And this one there's a sense of it being old, but less trauma than I'm used to. This feels a little bit more like something that would have been a residential haunting, that there was a smaller family group rather than some sort of institution or business. As I dig down below that, I keep getting an image of a woman. There's a sense of well-heeled wealth to her. And I think she might be where I'm getting that sort of like light, airy feel. It's almost her personality.
And she's here in a conscious state or just a memory?
Right now, I would hazard to say that this is an imprint, a residual haunting, but I keep wanting to go. I want to go toward a staircase, and I want to go up the staircase.
Okay, Michelle's muted right now, and this is my first time upstairs, so I have no idea what we're gonna find.
What I see is a heavy wooden door that is open. A little bit of light coming through a window. And this bed, some darker colors than were downstairs. It's turned down, heavy wood, very ornate. I don't know if it's the room or the bed or the combination of the two that's important for this. It feels like there's been experiences in that space, and I think I keep getting pulled toward the bed because it's stuff that's happening to people at night while they're sleeping.
Yeah.
Something that shows up either in dreams or wakes them up. Okay, maybe she's an intelligent haunting because I just heard this is the heart of the matter. She wants me to follow the path into the room, out of the room, down the hall. That's the path he takes.
So what's this woman's connection to this guy?
Right now, only that she wants me to know who he is, or at least what he did. The sense that this was someone, that the male figure is someone who did something violent. Or at least there was a threat of violence with this figure.
Okay, I'm gonna move you over to another room.
Okay. Yeah, and the figure in the hallway I'm going to refer to as Scarecrow Man, because there's something off in the way that figure looked to me. There's a sense of things that have been hidden on the property. My unspoken ask was, what is the trouble in this space? Because she seemed quite happy downstairs, but there's something else. There's something that broke that nicety of her life, maybe. And that's where she led me to. There's a room upstairs, and there's a bed, and this is the heart of the matter, and no one gets a good night's sleep in that bed. They still hear him. There's something else up, but that's right now all in shadow. If you take the next flight of stairs to the next layer, the first floor was very bright and very light and very airy. And the second floor, there's still a sense of light coming in through windows and light coming into the spaces, but it starts to kind of tick toward darkness and shadow, there's a little bit of maintaining a facade that is important to her. Oh, that was interesting. So facades and maintaining a face and kind of keeping a mask over secrets, violence, darkness, that flashed to, it looked like, I'm just going to describe this. It might be my overactive imagination, but there was a quick flash of, I think, 2 children's bodies. And there's no light but what's coming through a window, so it's night. And maybe that's moonlight. There's not a lot of illumination, so it's just sort of these gray, shapeless things, but they are definitely dead, and they have been brutalized. And when I said facade and maintaining a facade, there was just this quick flash of that. And again, a sense of what I'm going to call Scarecrow Man. So possibly a murder, but it doesn't feel like something recent. And there's a kind of boogeyman feel to it. So again, I want to put the caveat of these may be someone's fears and these may be someone's nightmares. This may not be an event that actually happened.
I'm going to take you one more spot.
This has a little bit more of that kind of oppressive in the air feel that I associate with haunted places that have unpleasant things connected to them. There's that tension on the air, that almost barometric pressure shift. I almost feel like I need to duck my head.
And is this the same energy that you were feeling before? Scarecrow guy?
Yeah, that hand sickle keeps coming up. That's why I want to say Scarecrow guy. Like there's farm implements involved, and it's just weird. I don't know what this person's deal is. If I see him at all, it's in shadow, or I see his boots, or I see the back of his coat.
And so if that energy is active, how would they manifest to people here?
I think a lot of people would perceive this as a shadow person. Some people may report it as there's sort of that shadow person with the top hat, because there's a sense of something that almost looks like a pilgrim's hat. Like it's a weird hat.
Would it be possible to draw? You don't have to do it right now, but when we get off the phone, could you draw how you see Scarecrow Man, or how he would manifest to people? Okay.
Yeah, I'll try to draw. Yeah, I can totally draw.
Lastly, hang on for a second, Michelle.
Okay.
That was really weird.
Did you see something by me? You need me to go there?
No, when I looked up just now, I thought, I don't know if you've ever been in a really dusty, dirty basement. Michelle's muted right now. If you've ever been in a really dusty, dirty basement, and if somebody moves, like dust and cloud of dirt picks up. When I looked up, there was like, I literally thought there was like a cloud of dirty debris kicking up right next to you. And then I realized there is no such thing. And I don't know if I just imagined that, but it was very, very real. Okay, cool. All right, thanks, Michelle, as always. You're amazing. All right, bye-bye. I mean, she hit on, it was interesting because she's hitting on like different layers, and I know from working with Michelle sometimes that she has to dig through all of that. But she pretty much hit on like everything. And the one that creeped me out the most, like I literally got chills when she said it, was the Scarecrow Man, because the way she's describing him, like not fully formed, like all in shadows, You can't tell the identity. His hand is hidden. I keep flashing back to that photo and how similar those descriptions seem. I feel like it's...
Did you see something?
Yeah.
What did you see?
Can you use this device and tell us who you are?
First night, bed moved like somebody pushed mattress up from underneath and felt somebody sitting on the bed. Do you like messing with people that stay in this room?